As a child, Arthur wanted to become a knight like his father. When he discovered his ability, which he used to tend to crops, his parents were excited to learn he was also an ability user. However, others mocked him because his ability seemed useless for being a knight. Despite his efforts to train, his ability never changed, and he began to consider becoming a farmer instead. But after meeting Pride, Arthur is determined to become a knight. He resumes his training with his father and asks to learn more about Pride. When he goes in for the kill during training, he is pushed away, but Rodri is impressed by his technique, thinking Arthur is even more talented than himself. Arthur's mother arrives, surprised to learn that he is trying to become a knight. Rodri quickly runs off, saying he has business to attend to, and leaves his sword behind. Pride wonders how Arthur is doing, recalling that in the game, Rodri died at the cliff, leading Arthur to curse her for so easily discarding his father's life and vowing revenge. However, she feels relieved that she was able to encourage him to become a knight. Pride visits the knights, informing Clark that she has something to return to the captain. When the other knights hear of her visit, they all rush over as she has become quite popular with them after the last mission. Rodri arrives in a hurry, and Pride notices he seems to have hurt his head. Clark explains that they had been drinking all night and, after training with Arthur in the morning, Rodri ended up having an accident. Pride is glad to hear that Arthur has already started his training, and Rodri mentions that Arthur has been asking about her. At that moment, Arthur arrives, bringing Rodri his sword, and becomes embarrassed upon seeing Pride. The knights smile at him, but he prepares to leave. Clark, sensing that Arthur has something to say to Pride, watches as Arthur promises to tell her once he becomes a knight. Before Arthur can go, Stale invites him to join his training, saying he needs a partner, and Arthur agrees. Stale leads Arthur to the training room, and as they talk, Arthur finds Stale's smile suspicious, wondering what he is planning. Stale tells him there is no need to be formal and to think of him as a friend. They start their training, and Stale is surprised by Arthur's skill, suspecting that he hasn't taken a break from training despite Arthur's claim that he hasn't touched a sword in years. Stale suggests that Arthur should try out for the knights, which surprises Arthur, who thought he was just a beginner and that it would take him at least 3 years to prepare. Stale, however, believes he is ready and offers to support him in any way. Arthur wonders why Stale is so determined to make him a knight, and Stale explains that it's to protect Pride. Although Pride is strong, Stale fears she will continue to be reckless in the future. He is training to protect her but knows he isn't enough. Recognizing Arthur's potential strength, Stale wants him to be the one to protect Pride. Arthur finds it strange, considering himself a novice, but the thought of protecting Pride motivates him. He questions why Stale is so dedicated to Pride, and Stale reveals that he owes everything to her and has vowed to live for her sake. He has difficulty trusting those around them, but after seeing Arthur's commitment to protecting Pride, he starts to believe in him. Stale wants to be Pride's shield and tells Arthur to become her sword. Arthur accepts this explanation, agreeing to work together for Pride's sake. They started to get along, and Arthur admitted to Stale that his smile had initially creeped him out. Stale was surprised by this revelation, and Arthur explained that it was the reason he had found him suspicious. They began joking around, and Stale was glad to have met him. Meanwhile, we saw Pride reading about the laws of the country. She recalled that her character had used these laws to commit atrocities, and she wanted to ensure she didn't follow the same path. Pride appeared in the throne room, where Gilbert informed her that the man she had captured was involved in the disappearance of knights from an allied kingdom. He revealed that the man had set up an ambush after extracting information from the knights held in captivity. Rosa, aware that Pride had been studying the laws, wanted her to pass judgment as the future queen. The criminal, whose name was Val, entered the room. Pride remembered that her character had hired Val to fight Tyara in the game. It was revealed that the knights held in captivity were still alive, so they would need Val's guidance to find them. Rosa wanted Pride to articulate her thoughts as she delivered judgment. Pride stated that Val had committed a serious crime and deserved execution, but she knew they needed him to locate the captive knights. She considered applying a fealty contract. Pride ordered the knights to remove Val's gag as she approached him. She asked how he would like to be punished, explaining that the fealty contract would deprive him of his free will, potentially leading to a fate worse than death. Val declared that he did not want to die, so Pride ultimately decided to release him after he served the contract. Rosa instructed Pride to carry out the contract, and she signed it, though she worried she was following the same path as the game and becoming evil. Val also signed the contract, which took effect as Pride gave him his orders to serve the royal family and live an honest life free from violence. After some time, Stale revealed that the knights had been rescued. Pride approached Val and told him to speak his mind. He called her a monster, which upset Stale, but she decided to release Val nonetheless, giving him 2 orders to live by. The first order was to protect Tyra in case of emergency, which surprised everyone, but Pride insisted it was of the highest priority, allowing Val to disobey her for Tyra's sake. The second order was to return to her if he needed help. She then set him free, ordering him to leave the castle. As his legs started moving against his will, and he began walking away, he asked her why she was doing this. Pride told Val that his actions might be based on unfounded fear, and the guards escorted him away. Stale thought she was being too lenient, arguing that Val deserved a harsher punishment. However, Pride saw Val as one of her subjects and decided to give him another chance, knowing he wanted to live. Tara wondered if she was being a hindrance because Pride had asked Val to protect her, thinking it implied she was weak. But Pride reassured her, saying she loved her and just wanted to protect what was important to her. She also expressed her love for Stale, telling him she wanted to be his older sister until the very end. Pride was happy to be with them and wanted them to remember her love, even if something bad happened in the future. As the knighthood exam approached, they met up with Arthur. Pride revealed that they would be watching him train every day, hoping it would encourage him to train harder. Stale and Arthur had a sparring match, and after a few days, we saw the boys continuing their training while the sisters picked flowers. The sisters gave the boys flowers, with Tara revealing that Pride had chosen them. She explained that Stale's flowers symbolized intelligence, success, and worthiness, while Arthur's represented heroism, strength, and beauty. She placed the flowers on their heads, saying they looked good with them. When it was time for the knighthood exam, Arthur bade them farewell and made his way outside,